It is spread by human contact. It affects large groups in a flash. It moves from person to person. Infection occurs in seconds. Symptoms include shortness of breath, gasping for air. It can affect anyone of any age. It could happen to you.
They say, into each life, some rain must fall. And it seemed like it was our turn. My partner Shannon's father contracted leukemia in her 6th month of pregnancy. He died suddenly a month later. She got sick with grief, and naturally, we worried about the baby. Shannon's mother had recently passed away. My parents had also died. When our daughter was finally born, it hit us. We had no one to show the baby to. And we worried the baby would turn out sad, like us. Then, something unexpected happened. The baby started to make a sound. Who taught this baby to laugh? Obviously, it wasn't us. We were all doom and gloom. I did a little research and I found the answer. Who taught this baby to laugh? No one, it appears. Babies just begin laughing by themselves. Babies everywhere in the world start laughing at 2 to 4 months of age. Could it be these babies learn to laugh by watching their parents? Even blind babies begin laughing around the same time. Could it be that babies learn to laugh by hearing their parents laughing? Tests on deaf-blind babies revealed they learn to laugh around the same age. Could babies learn to laugh by feeling their parents laughing? An Austrian study even tested a deaf-blind infant with limited sensation and discovered that he laughed as well. No one teaches babies to laugh. They just do. If deaf-blind babies can laugh, maybe I could do it too. My name is Albert Nerenberg, and I work as a journalist. I like facts, but one day I had to face them. It seemed like I had lost the ability to laugh. When my daughter started laughing at me, I realized I hadn't laughed in weeks, maybe months. This was a surprise to my friends, who always saw me as a bit of a joker. And although I seemed to be able to make other people laugh, it was as if I couldn't really laugh myself. Perhaps it was death being close, or maybe it was just stress and exhaustion. But I felt like I wasn't the only one who wasn't laughing. With climate change, the economy, and terrorism, it felt like the whole world had gotten so much more serious lately.
Okay. No, you cannot smile, sir. That's for Canadian passport, you can't smile.
I didn't know you could lose your laugh, but when I did, I wanted to know everything I could about laughter. Maybe if I knew what laughter was, I could get it back. So I went to the man who literally wrote the book on it. Professor Robert Provine is the world's preeminent authority on laughter. And although he believes that humor has been studied to death, laughter is a mystery.
Laughter's hiding in plain sight because we always tend to underestimate the oddness and the importance of things that we face every day. Our conversations are filled with laughter. We laugh in the presence of friends, family, and lovers. And we spend a lot of time trying to understand the meaning of words. But we spend very little attention trying to understand laughter, which may even be more important. Laughter is part of the universal human vocabulary. Regardless of where you were born and the language in which you grew up speaking, everyone laughs in pretty much the same way. And people will understand what you're doing. And since everyone is laughing in pretty much the same way, and it's part of the universal human vocabulary, we tend to underestimate how extraordinary it is. This would be one of the first things that would be observed by aliens coming down to view human behavior. Why is it that periodically they get together in groups and for no obvious reason start going
Until very recently, serious science saw the study of laughter as a joke.
It was always the presumption that all important things about human behavior were learned through experience, and there was a neglect of things that all people had in common, in other words, human nature.
Trivial and everyday laughter may be the source of human communication.
When you look at laughter, you're looking at something that's very primitive, very ancient.
Nobody laughed on primordial Earth, but things changed with the arrival of mammals.
The origin of the first laugh, I really don't think is speculative. It originated as the which was the sound of rough and tumble play.
When mammals would have fun, they would pant. And that panting sound would soon become the elemental sound of laughter.
So basically when we go ha ha ha, it's a derivative of pant pant pant. Ha ha ha. Laughter is a form of bonding, and basically, your friends are people with whom you laugh. Outliers would be laughed at, and this will either drive them away or get them to dress and act normally so they can rejoin the unit. So while we don't think of it, it's a way of getting people to shape up. This labored breathing became a useful signal that I'm playing with you, not attacking you.
In fact, laughter may have been the original peace signal, allowing early humans to stop fighting and to party. So laughter may have helped bring us out of the jungle. It can bond friends and even create peace. But so what? I could survive without laughing. Millions of people do. But just in case, I decided to go see a laugh doctor. And there actually is such a thing. The laugh doctor was actually a world-famous family doctor who quit medicine to practice laughter because he believed it might be more beneficial.
I stopped practicing as a medical doctor because I found that laughter is much more healing than traditional medicine.
The laugh doctor had a diagnosis: seriousness, taking things too seriously. Although it is not an official medical term, the laugh doctor has successfully popularized the idea that being too serious is a kind of disorder, and I was not the only one who had it. He claims 80 to 90% of the adults in Western societies have effectively lost their laughs, possibly due to over-seriousness. He knows, because it happened to him too.
Actually, I'm born in a small countryside. I belong to a farmer family. I was very joyful, very happy child when I was in the village. But in the process of growing up and becoming a doctor, I found myself very serious because I was very ambitious. I wanted to make money. I wanted to become famous, and it's not easy. And all these things led to some kind of seriousness. I stopped laughing, I stopped playing, and that's my history.
I too had all the symptoms of seriousness. I looked serious, I acted serious, and I worked as a serious journalist. And I resented laughter.
Some amount of seriousness is required, but I think we are overplaying it. I would say that one should be serious about their work, but not yourself.
How does someone lose their laugh?
Stress in modern life. Physical stress, mental stress, and emotional stress.
Seriousness. Is it for real? I wasn't sure until I came across new research that seems to substantiate it medically.
Some people take themselves much more seriously than other people, and if you don't view things in a more lighthearted fashion over the course of time, you respond to stress in a more negative way that may over time affect your blood vessels, which basically are the gatekeepers for the development of hardening of the arteries.
Dr. Miller's study is based on the theory that stress and positive emotions such as laughter work as opposites. Miller demonstrated that stressful experiences cause people's blood vessels to tighten and contract, in some cases leading to heart disease, while laughter may have the opposite effect, opening and dilating them. This may explain why overly stressed or serious people literally fight laughter, as their very blood vessels are inhibiting it. But in extremely stressful situations, people are known to release their stress by bursting into fits of uncontrollable laughter.
The foreign minister went on to say he was confident the U.S. and France could rebuild their close ties now strained by the debate over Iraq. Do not make me laugh during the news, please. I'm trying to be serious this morning. British military officials are reporting that Iraqi parliamentary forces... You can't do this to me.
Just started laughing and I couldn't stop. And the gas now back on, and most of those roads... Excuse me. Most of those roads, including Broadway, are now back open.
검찰의 수사가 확대되고 있습니다.
Boy.
De eerste gewaarwording dat ik dacht, dat kan niet.
Excuseer, dames en heren. Dus, je probeert dan terug je toekomst.
Okay, let's just go straight to baseball.
Well, instead of being charged...
But, no. Stop, guy.
Als je met seks omgaat, is het niet alleen het fysieke dat telt, maar ook soms de lieve woordjes.
Vrlo iskreno. Evo, čuli smo jednu našu rečenicu.
Oh my God! Are you alright?
I think that seriousness can be as contagious as laughter. So I think that, it's important to realize that the more you tend to be serious, the more you tend to spread this behavior in your community. And after all, who wants to live in a society in which everybody is so dead serious? I mean, it sounds very boring.
Stress, for example, promotes heart disease, that perhaps a positive emotion like laughter might have the opposite effect.
That hit home when I came across an ad for life insurance that said laughing regularly can help you live 8 years longer. So what happens then if you don't laugh? You die! If laughter is so great, why isn't everyone laughing all the time? Well, it turns out that laughter had some pretty serious enemies who drove it underground.
So if we go back to Plato, our first man of letters, he was very much concerned with laughter and humor, not because he appreciated it, but because he feared its power. He thought laughter was ugly. Laughter could lead to the undermining of authority and the ultimate overthrow of the state.
The world's major religions followed suit, taking a dim view of laughter. If you look at the recognized masterpieces of Western art, laughter barely exists in human history. The entire canon only includes a handful of images where people actually laugh.
In the 18th century in England, it was considered to be a case of losing control. So you're seeing this kind of ugly, primal quality.
Believing that audible laughter was a sign of moral degradation and perversion, Lord Chesterfield famously advised his son to be more like him and to never laugh in public. George Catlin published Shut Your Mouth, which warned that regular laughter irreparably damages your teeth. Then, in 1875, author George Vasey would launch a full frontal assault, essentially calling for the total elimination of laughter in favor of smiling. A humorless Vasey believed that laughter was unnatural and drove its victims to commit vicious acts simply to perpetuate more laughter. Vasey claimed laughter hideously distorted people's faces, and in the case of children, it could have an even more serious outcome. Victorian fear of laughter may have led to its frightening stereotyping in the Dracula legend, perhaps the original source of the evil villain laugh. Laughter's #1 opponent is still with us. The first lesson that children learn in school is to stop laughing.
We can't have any more of this. If you can't settle down and act your age, then I'll have to ask you to leave the room.
Despite the popularity of comedy and humor, laughter has also been a threat because we can't entirely control it.
The decision to laugh is not a choice. You don't decide, oh, da-da-da-da-da, yeah, that's funny, I'm going to laugh now. No, you just laugh. Here, as we pride ourselves to be rational, conscious beings, we find that important parts of our behavior are controlled by irrational, unconscious processes.
Plato hated it. Religion discouraged it. Scientists avoided it. Schools shut it down. And seriousness made sure it never came back.
How can you get your laugh back in your life? It's very simple. I would laugh.
He would laugh. Could it really be that simple? All I had to do was laugh. I decided to start laughing right away. Could it really be that easy? All I had to do was just start laughing?
Remember, one of the most important things about laughter is it's social. You know, people by themselves laugh 30 times less. And so if you have someone sitting in a room by themselves that's giggling and laughing, this is actually a very atypical thing. And it's associated with some of the most serious forms of schizophrenia.
My plan to just start laughing was a total flop. Although you can certainly make the sound of laughter on your own, it appears that by definition, real laughter is something you do with others. I needed to find someone or something to laugh with. And there was a place where I was always hearing sounds of laughter, and that was in front of the TV. I could hear laughter, but who was laughing? No one. It was a machine. In the 1950s, the invention of a laughter machine which harnessed the power of recorded contagious laughter would alter the course of television.
People rate jokes as funnier and are more likely to laugh if they hear other people laughing. You laugh when you hear other people laugh.
Using the natural infectiousness of laughter, mechanical laugh tracks can seemingly make almost anything funny. When I realized I'd been laughing along with a machine, I felt like a fool. So I went to Los Angeles, where I found some human laugh tracks who might be able to do the job. These are professional laughers. The laughers have a fascinating history in Hollywood. They were the product of a crisis at the popular TV show, The Nanny.
Apparently there was some kind of security issue and there was some kind of stalking going on. And they didn't want to take any chances of bringing in anybody off the street. They said, can you give us about 25 people that have really good laughs? And I'm like, okay.
They were so effective that the laughers were quietly hired by a number of comedy shows for their ability to make the shows seem funnier and their signature laughs.
Oh!
As a side effect of laughing day in and day out, the laughers said they felt more relaxed, they became more empathetic, and happier.
It was magic.
The Nanny wrapped up, and reality television came in, and work for the laughers dried up.
It just stopped.
Yeah.
I went into a withdrawal.
So you do.
Like a depression. I was calling up fellow laughers going like, oh, this is horrible. This is like, this is really depressing, not being able to go out and laugh.
And you're calling me, it's like, where's the job?
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife found me in the bathroom laughing. After a year, I never was depressed. The whole time I was working, I was never depressed. I'm on antidepressants now because it's been a couple of years.
You know, there will be things that happen.
Are you joking? I'm not joking.
There will be things
those were the happiest times. Really, it was really great.
Yeah.
While they laughed like pros, it seemed to me that the laughers were sad. They had lost their laughs too. I had tried solo laughing. I had tried TV. I had even tried human laugh tracks. And none of it had worked. Maybe it was time to think outside the box and try something different.
Contrary to what a lot of people thought for a long time, that laughter was uniquely human, I think we're going to find that's not true. If we look at laughter of our primate ancestors, chimpanzee laughter is
Currently, scientific researchers are trying to prove that rats, orangutans, and even gorillas laugh as well. To test the theory that dogs may laugh, we took a recording of so-called dog laughter to a nearby animal shelter. The theory goes that the sound of dog laughter has a calming effect on caged dogs. When we played the recording, a surprising thing took place. These abandoned dogs, normally skittish and stressed out, perked up their ears and quietly lay down.
No, they're very calm. Their ears went up, they all were looking towards the sound, and they were quiet. I was amazed. It just took them out of their own stressed feelings, and they focused on something else. And they were focusing on the sound of those dogs laughing.
It blew my mind that some animals may also be making the peaceful panting sound that we call laughter. I thought there was just a couple of ways to laugh, but there may be far more. Laughter seemed to be a whole other language, and there wasn't just one way to laugh, there may be thousands. I went to a place where I might experience a whole new range. This is Baffin Island, also known as Laughin Island. It has one of the most forbidding climates on the planet, but some of the world's best laughers live here. The Inuit of the far north sometimes live half their year in freezing temperatures and almost total darkness. Some believe a tradition of laughter was key to their survival. If they could find a way to laugh, maybe anyone could.
I think we were taught since we were small to play laughing games. It's a way to socialize, to connect with people. The whole community would get together and celebrate, even with no words, actions, making faces.
In order to survive, you had to get along because you needed each other. And to get along is like you had to laugh together as a way to bond and to connect. You depended on each other for life, for survival.
We always seem to be promoted too much smokers, too much drinkers, a bunch of savages that going after the seal, and I never hear anybody talk about good side of life.
Perhaps because laughter is usually regarded as trivial behavior, there is little recognition for the central role it plays among the Inuit, even as a form of communication.
There's different sounds. It could be an understanding laugh. And then there's one where, oh, that was kind of dumb.
The Inuit have a tradition of laughter games possibly stretching back thousands of years. This is throat singing. Usually viewed as Inuit folk music, it may also be an ancient laughing game, creating laughter out of thin air.
It's a game between two people and you're throwing it back and forth. You have a leader and a follower. A lot of people say that whoever laughs first loses the game, but it's a very good-natured form of competition. I have had really bad days, and then we have a throat singing show, and I'm just like flying afterwards. It's like a stress reliever and everything as well.
There's also a game where you try not to laugh, and there's a person staring at you.
Funny Lolo. My name Bobby from Adventure. You can
I don't know, it's just so natural. Like, we laugh every day, and it's just so much a part of our culture.
I think the culture of white people, Inuit culture, are two very different. White people culture is so stringent.
In fact, they even have a word for it.
To talk like because you're really serious.
But even more, in a harsh and sometimes difficult climate, the Inuit believe that being too stressed or too serious can be fatal.
When you're too serious, it's not good for you. You're not going to survive.
Getting my laugh back was now a matter of life or death. I had to catch some laughter. And I would be surprised to learn that laughter is far more contagious than widely thought. But it was only in 2006 that a team of British neuroscientists proved that laughter may actually be contagious.
It's extremely contagious, and I've yet to come across anything that's showing a neural response that is more contagious. This basically came out of doing a pilot study looking at the neural responses to what happens when people hear emotional noises like screams or laughs. And we found that when people heard the laughs, there was lots and lots of activation in the parts of the brain that would actually be associated with moving your face and making noise yourself. And we thought that's really interesting. So we went back and tried to look specifically at this. It looks like those brain areas that you're using to control smiling and laughing are actually responding very strongly when you hear laughter. And that seemed to be quite a good mechanism for the contagiousness of laughter to actually be transmitted.
The neuroscientists demonstrated that hearing contagious laughter triggers you to laugh, which makes other people laugh, and on it goes. But there was more. Science has generally held that humans, allegedly warlike by nature, are heavily triggered by the negative emotions of fear and anger, but we may actually respond more strongly to positive contagions.
What we found that was really striking was there was a correlation of the activity in that area with how positive the sounds were. I'm not trying to say that these other emotions aren't contagious. Disgust is very contagious. Fear and panic are very contagious. That was different about laughter, and probably different from any other one that I've come across, is it really seems to drive a behaviour.
In contagious laughter, we have people locked together brain to brain. So when one person is laughing, the other person will laugh along. A similar thing is happening in regard to yawning. When you see another person yawn, you don't decide, oh, I want to yawn too. It just happens.
If you're mirroring somebody's laugh, then it means you're joining in with their laugh, and you are producing genuine laughter of their own, which will be driving their laughter more.
The evolution of contagious acts was a very important phase in the emergence of sociality. As people started to get together and interact in groups. When looking at contagious laughter, I think this is a step. We may also be looking at the roots of empathy.
The breakthrough here is that we may be more positive than we realize, especially when we engage people with laughter.
We are very strongly activated by positive signs from other people, much more so than we are by negative signs.
But the study also revealed one of laughter's peculiar qualities: its ability to override bad moods.
This very strong positive contagion of laughter means it can override a lot of other things. And you hear the phrase, oh, they broke the ice. It kind of means it was a little bit frosty and then somebody made somebody laugh, and that's spreading around. So it's a very good way of turning round a negative mood.
What Sophie Scott proved was that whether or not you laugh a lot, your brain is designed to be a laughter machine. You just need to activate it. That gave me an idea. Why not meet the man with the most contagious laugh in the world? But I would be surprised to hear that Doug Collins of Tennessee had once lost his laugh too.
The day I got fired from my job that I worked 33 years on, I had 25 years of perfect attendance, and I was the first one they fired. 2 or 3 months, I just couldn't hardly laugh at all. I was depressed, and my wife had a brain tumor, and I didn't know what I was going to do about the medical insurance, because we lost all of our medical insurance, and we had to go in survival mode.
What really got Collins laughing again was a chance appearance on a popular live comedy show.
Right this way. You right there in that chair over there. You over there in the middle right there. And there's Uncle Joe. He's a-moving kind of slow. Right this way. You sit right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know these guys. Never met them before in my whole life. Let's meet them together and figure out who they all are.
They bring people out of the audience up on the stage and try to crack them up and make them laugh and everything. And when they brought me up there, I just stole the show.
Go ahead and listen to Doug. I'll be back in a minute. Folks, this show may be over. Stop.
Collins' laughter would have an audience of hundreds in stitches for over 20 minutes. The performers walked off the stage, and after the video of the event was posted online, Colin's unique laugh became an internet sensation. Although he obviously had competition, Collins would soon be dubbed the man with the most contagious laugh in the world. I wanted to know where Collins got his laugh in the first place.
It really goes back a long ways. When I was a young kid, I was so small for my age and everything. Everybody called me either Peanut or Pee-wee. And all the school classmates, they'd be kind of like be bullies over me. They like to chase me around the football field. I just fall down laughing. When they came upon me, see me laughing, they just fell down on the ground and started laughing too, so kept me from getting a whooping by the bullies. I used my laugh to really save my own skin.
Half the comments on the YouTube video talk about how if they're ever feeling bad or feeling down or just had a bad day, they'd come home and watch the video and they'd instantly be feeling much better. There's definitely a therapeutic effect to it.
I think everybody should laugh more because it's kind of like medicine to your soul. It just refreshes you and you're not sick as much. And I've already made plans with my son that when I die, I want to have a laugh track in my coffin of me laughing, so make everybody happy instead of grieving.
I've just had a son, terrified that he's going to get my father's laugh.
At the invitation of the neuroscientific team that demonstrated that laughter was contagious, we brought Doug Collins to London for examination to see if they could figure out what made him special. It turns out there is something special about Doug Collins. He showed extra sensitivity to being triggered to laugh by the sound of laughter. But whose laughter? The answer soon became obvious.
You know, when I laugh and I get to a certain point, I get tickled at my own laugh. That's when I really can't stop. I just keep going.
Doug Collins is a living laughter feedback loop.
Folks, this show may be over.
What are we seeing here right now?
What we're actually seeing, quite interestingly, is that Doug's brain responds much more when he hears laughter than our normal control subjects. So he's getting much more extensive activation and it's much greater.
So sort of the feedback loop of contagious laughter is more in effect.
Yeah, it's taking over more of his brain.
More of his brain is laughing than in an average person?
I think so, yeah.
Is that true, Doug?
Yep.
Even though Doug Collins had once lost his laugh, he was a one-man laughter epidemic. And Doug Collins certainly made me laugh. But when he left, the laughter ended. And I was no Doug Collins. But the fact that he could get his laugh back gave me hope. And it seems like laughter has a strange way of giving hope to the hopeless. Take the story of Norman Cousins. The guests at the Mayflower Hotel in Manhattan must have thought they had checked into a madhouse. Day and night they could hear a man laughing uproariously. But what could be so funny? 50-year-old Norman Cousins was laughing to save his life.
I was associated with Norman Cousins at the Saturday Review. This man really did a great deal. He represented President Kennedy in negotiating the nuclear test ban. And then Kennedy asked Norman to write a speech for him. He worked for the Vatican. He could pick up the phone and the Pope would answer. That was how important he was during his day. Norman had a trip to Russia, which was very strenuous. He traveled a great deal. And when he came back, the moment he got off the plane, he felt terribly ill.
There was, I think, some kind of deterioration of his connective tissue. He was in a lot of pain.
They made it pretty clear to him that this was a fatal disease and that he didn't have too much time to live. So what he decided to do was to laugh himself to sleep.
The way that he discovered that laughter was helpful to him was that he wanted to enjoy himself, and he asked his friend Alan Funt to bring in candid camera TV shows. After he had 10 minutes of belly laughter, he could have a half an hour of pain-free sleep, and that was a lot.
After 3 months, Norman Cousins stood up and walked out of the hotel, a cured man.
Most people didn't believe that laughter was an important ingredient in getting better at that time.
It would take decades for Norman Cousins' laughter cure to be taken seriously by medical science. But it would inspire some of the first attempts at laughter research. One study at the University of Maryland discovered that laughter may actually protect the heart.
We're always talking about negative aspects that promote heart disease. I think it's nice to be able to have something positive to bring to the table.
Other research suggests that because it is so strenuous, that laughter itself could be a form of fitness.
I come from an exercise background and I'm always interested in exercise prescription, but laughter is a whole new avenue.
And another study at a university in Southern California suggests that laughing may have an immediate immune-boosting effect.
Somebody coughs on you, you inhale the viral organism and it goes to the respiratory tract. But yet with laughter, we've been able to show that we increase the type of antibody in the immune system that goes after and attacks various viral components.
But much of the research into laughter is new and underfunded.
I caution you that, once again, we don't have systematic studies that have examined that particular question. We have a body of anecdotal reports that tell us that something is going on because a large number of people are saying, I'm getting benefit from this particular practice.
And even though laughter can knock you off your feet, some doctors are now recommending it.
We do say that laughing is good for you and should be done on a regular basis.
But wait a second. How do you laugh on a regular basis? It was time to join a laughter club. Laughter clubs are a relatively new phenomenon, where people seem to gather absurdly just to stand around and laugh. It turns out that laughter yoga is connected to Norman Cousins. Cousins' laughing cure would eventually inspire some of the first scientific studies that suggest that laughter may have tremendous unexplored health benefits. Meanwhile, the laugh doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria, would read some of those studies and get an idea.
On 13th March 1995, I woke up at 4 in the morning and walking up and down in my living room. And suddenly idea flashed in my mind, if laughter is so good, why not start a laughter club? It was like a sense of urgency for me. I could hardly wait for 3 hours. And 7 o'clock, I went rushing to the public park near my house and I spoke to people around, I want to start a laughter club. And they started laughing at me. They thought, Doc, are you all right? Initially, we started laughing by telling jokes. After about 1 week, we hit a big snag. We ran out of good jokes. And people told me, stop this laughter club, this idea is not going to work. And I was really upset. I said, no, we will not stop this laughter club. We can laugh without jokes. So I came home and I was searching and looking for some idea how to laugh without jokes. So I said, why can't we make laughter as an exercise? And we started pretend laughing, ha 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 ha. I couldn't believe my eyes. We couldn't pretend even for 30 seconds. Everybody started laughing for real. Laughter is so contagious.
This breakthrough would lead to a worldwide explosion in laughter clubs, with the movement quickly spreading from India to 60 countries and counting, as if by the contagiousness of laughter itself. I brought my 8-month-old daughter Jane to laughter yoga, and although I didn't quite get it, Jane took to it immediately. In fact, she became a bit of an ace.
Your certificate, congratulations, you're an official graduate of...
Even inventing her own one-legged laugh, which spread to other laughter groups. Although Jane was on her way to becoming a laughter yoga master, I was at a dead end. I couldn't get past the concept of just laughing for no reason. It seemed to me that you needed something funny to laugh at. Wrong. The emerging laughter movement is based on the new idea that laughter and humor are actually very different things. In fact, while humor might be tens of thousands of years old, laughter is millions of years old. People usually assume that all laughter is produced by humor and jokes.
That's how I roll.
But studies now suggest otherwise.
The essential element for laughter is laughter and other people. It's not jokes. We found only maybe 10 or 15% of pre-laugh comments are remotely jokey.
There's quite a lot of evidence showing that actually if you look at what people do when they're talking to each other and what makes them laugh, it's very infrequently because somebody's told a joke. People will laugh lots of different ways to kind of back up what somebody's saying or to join in with some other aspect. And also when somebody says something deliberately funny, but it doesn't have to be.
Most people believe you can't laugh without jokes.
I think most of the laughter which comes in our real life is not from comedy jokes or humor. It's all about being together. When friends get together, we just laugh because being together is fun. When we were children, most of the laughter which came was from the body, out of playfulness, joyfulness. And as we grow up, it seems that laughter shifts into the head, into the brain.
Perhaps there are two kinds of laughter. Laughter produced by humor
What's up with that?
is an intellectual two-step laugh. That's because first your brain figures out that something is funny. Then it triggers a laugh.
This is where we lose most of our laughter, is from unconditional to conditional laughter, which always needs some reason to laugh.
However, for natural contagious laughter, all you need to trigger more laughter is just the sound of laughter. But all this easy laughter seemed too good to be true. Weren't they just faking it?
This is fake. This is fake.
If I said to you it's fake, what would you say?
Right on.
Isn't this fake laughter, isn't it?
Artificial laughter becomes real laughter because you have to start something. Morning. Happy.
It sounded crazy, but he had a point. There's now proof that the sound of laughter triggers contagious laughter, but there are likely more triggers. Laughter may be as contagious as you want it to be. In groups where people are comfortable with one another, simple eye contact will trigger laughter. Pointing and laughing may trigger more laughter, and when people lay on the ground together, their laughter reverberates off the floor, triggering even more laughter. But one of the most extreme examples is when people laugh back to back. Scientific research may actually support the basic principle behind laughter yoga.
Well, you may begin with forced laughter. The forced laughter will lead to true laughter. Contagious laughter is real laughter. And I think the laughter of laughter yoga, well, it's contrived at the outset, leads to real laughter, because one of the most important stimuli in everyday life for laughter is laughter.
These laughers had discovered that you can fake it until you make it. It was starting to make sense. You can create laughter simply by laughing. Because when you laugh, your own body will often laugh along. And when you do it with other people, the laughter triggers multiply. And soon people are sharing fits of laughter together. Practicing contagious laughter may be a new form of exercise promoting health and happiness. I was just about there. So I decided to go to India to try and laugh with the man who invented laughter yoga, the laugh doctor himself. Then, disaster. In what would then be dubbed India's 9/11, terrorists opened fire on innocent civilians in the streets of Mumbai. In a series of coordinated attacks, the terrorists target landmark buildings, murdering civilians and tourists. It is the ultimate seriousness. Previously scheduled, I arrived the next day. The city is in a state of shock.
We all are vulnerable. Anything can happen to anybody. In fact, this is the first thing everybody thinks when looking at the terror attacks, whether it's a television news or a newspaper. First thing comes to your mind is, what will happen to me? That's the fear. And this can be easily overcome based on the age-old Indian philosophy. If you just put a different frame of mind, think what you can do to contribute to the world. We cannot remove darkness from the world. The way we can remove darkness is to light a lamp. If we keep on increasing the positivity, darkness will disappear.
And your answer to that is?
My answer to all the negativity, violence and terrorism is unconditional laughter, unconditional love. And if you laugh, you change. When you change, the whole world changes around you.
Only days after the massacre, the laugh doctor was laughing again. And life in Mumbai seemed to be returning to normal. I had come to Mumbai to laugh, but I had cried instead. I felt like I had lost my laugh all over again. So I knew where I had to go next. A place where I would have no choice but to laugh. A place where laughter is a disease. I discovered that in 1962 in Africa, there was an exceptional epidemic of laughter. Thousands of people in the nation of Tanzania would start laughing for no apparent reason. For days, even weeks, it became known as the laughing disease. The laughter would spread from village to village until thousands of people were laughing in Tanzania and Uganda. I decided to make a bold move. If I went to Tanzania and contracted the laughing disease, then perhaps I would finally begin to really laugh. But what caused laughing disease? Was it something in the water? Or was it a plague of grasshoppers? Or was it the Tanzanian laughing bird? When locals saw me investigating, they asked me what I was doing. When I told them, they promptly fell down. Leading me to think that they themselves had the laughing disease. They did not, but they knew who did. In a hut at the edge of the Rift Valley, I found an original victim of the 1962 epidemic.
She says many people were affected. But for that particular year, the weather had a very big change of weather. I was in school by then, and most of my friends were a bit very affected. When the weather is changing dramatically, it gets most of the families, especially poor families, are getting very much stressed.
Well, I came over to see what was going on. Children started laughing. They're just laughing. It is a crazy laughing, jumping all over the place. All of a sudden, there was an epidemic. Laughing disease, kashasha here.
First, she trembled. They were just swinging, laughing with so loud laughter.
Like that. We took all the blood samples, went to Europe to find out if there was a virus. You know, they thought about differential diagnosis. There was we say NAD, nothing abnormal detected.
Even though the laughing epidemic would last over 18 months, medical officials would be mystified as to its cause. I went to the school that was at the epicenter of the breakout to see if I could find any answers. I would be shocked to discover that the laughing disease had returned. Just that week, a 16-year-old girl at the school had begun laughing and laughed for 3 days straight.
I was in class. I started laughing, and then later I cried. But then she lost her mind. She didn't know what happened next. It took 3 days consecutively laughing and crying. She did not stop day and night until the second day when we took her to Kashasha Hospital, and they would give her sleeping tablets. So every time she would wake up, she would begin laughing again.
And she was not the only one. At a nearby school, 4 girls began to laugh and could not stop.
It happened here at school.
She was worried.
I was afraid.
Back in the original 1962 epidemic, a new administration had come in across Tanzania with a severe approach to school discipline. At the same time, the laughter epidemic had broken out.
And we found out this was a change of lifestyle. Too strict. And we had to go to this new administration to relax.
At the time, no one could solve the mystery of the laughing disease epidemic. But with what we know today, there may be actually a simple answer. According to the psychiatrist, it was just stress. If you think that laughter epidemics can only happen in Africa, think again. This is holy laughter, a kind of extreme contagious laughter that has been spreading through churches around North America. The followers of holy laughter believe God laughs through them. And when he does, they often fall down on the floor, laughing uncontrollably. This is some of the most extreme laughter I have seen. The holy laughter epidemic began in a small church in upstate New York in 1989, when a congregation suddenly began chortling during a sermon by Rodney Howard-Browne. Howard Brown, a South African, sees himself as a reverse missionary, bringing a more spirited version of Christianity to overly dour North America.
I don't understand why people have a problem with joy in church. Because you can come to church all happy, excited, talking to your friend. The moment you walk in the door, everybody's stirring, this and there. You don't want to even cough. You don't want to even open up a mint because now you're in the presence of God.
It's all right. This is called joy. It's okay. The Lord's in total favor of it. You can have some.
God's not grumpy. He's not throwing furniture around. Jesus is not depressed.
So Jesus didn't come to condemn. Yet you look at a lot of religious people, that's all they're doing.
Maybe it's because if I can keep them guilty or ashamed, then I'm going to keep them coming back. I mean, religion is like that, isn't it?
Are you kind of giving away the formula?
Oh, it doesn't matter. My thing is to release everybody's.
Touch her, Lord. Touch her, Jesus. Touch her, Jesus.
The best way I could describe it is drunkenness. Like you're inebriated. I mean, you're there, you're aware of what's going on, but you don't really want to stop. When somebody gets prayed for and they fall out on the ground, they're kind of just laying there. We kind of call that carpet time.
Right now, right now, right now. Jesus. That's it right now. Thank you, Lord.
Just the idea of the holy laughers made me smile. But would they make me laugh?
The sandwich just became toast. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. How you doing? This is my friend from Canada. He's a laughologist. He is. He's a laughologist. And he's come to study what's happening here.
I never knew there was a laughologist. Jesus!
Although I didn't find God, I did find I was laughing. Now I have a confession. At the beginning, I faked it a little. But I was not the only one. He faked it, she faked it. Even he faked it too. The Laugh Doctor did it as well. Laughter yoga turned laughter into an exercise. The laughers made it an art. And for the Inuit, it was an almost secret tradition. Doug Collins used any excuse to laugh, which just made him laugh more. But perhaps here is the amazing part. Laughter is so contagious, and your body wants to laugh so badly, that just faking the sounds of laughter will often provoke the real thing. Yes, I was laughing. Perhaps I'd been doing it all along, because I realized your laugh is something you can never lose, because we were all born laughing. Maybe Plato was wrong. Laughter isn't ugly, it's beautiful. Laughter's not evil, it's fun. Laughter won't kill you, but it might save your life. And maybe it's not so hard to laugh a bit more. You just have to give yourself permission. When I did, my laugh came back with a vengeance. And I think I even found a cure for seriousness. According to science, laughter is more contagious than we realize. For some reason, we have been built to have fun, to get along, and to enjoy each other's company, and even to party. And nature rewards us with immunity and longevity when we do. While humor is cultural, laughter is universal. And wherever I went, I found you could laugh with pretty well anyone.
I have a message for the whole world. Life is serious, death is serious. It's time to take laughter seriously.
We do live in a world where there is a lot to be afraid of. But as Mark Twain once said, human beings only have one true weapon. If babies can stare into the darkness and laugh, maybe the rest of us can do it too.